All right, YouTube, we're live again. Beautiful. Welcome. This is the third session, the live coding session that I'm doing. We're creating a trivia game in Clojure and ClojureScript. So today we're going to continue on that journey. First, I want to start with some questions and answers. I got a question regarding the last session, which was surprisingly about the HTML layout. If you remember, we have a forum with some pages behind it. And Martin Klaus asked, how do you design those pages? Well, uh, I'm not really a designer, so it's all very tech oriented. It works, but it's not very pretty. But how do I do it? It's quite simple. I use Bootstrap, which has all the things you need to create responsive, good looking forms and pages. It's a lot better than it used to be before Bootstrap, so lots of praise to them. The most important part of Bootstrap, I think, is the grid system. It allows you to scale and align pieces of your page the way you want it. There's a good page on it. It's called getbootstrap.com, and it has a tab for CSS, and that will bring you to something called grid system, which is a very in-depth explanation of how it works and what you can do, how you can divide your page into multiple columns, etc., etc., etc. Even what will happen if you use it incorrectly. For instance, if you allocate too many columns, how it will overflow. So that's very nice. It allows you to easily create a page. If you have a lot of trouble envisioning it and trying to get it to work, there's also a tool called Layoutit. There's many more like it, but this is the one that I know. And it allows you to visually drag components onto the screen and have a layout. So give it a try if you want. Hopefully it helps you, Martin. If you have any more questions, just ask them below, or in the live chat if you're here. So let's get to it. We're a little bit early. It's 7 minutes to 10, but who's counting, right? If you remember, last time we finished, we had a form in which you could put your username. You would end up in a game page. You could create a game, and then you could select the answer, even if it's correct or not. So, seeing we're getting some errors here. It's probably just some code reloading issues. All right, so that's where we ended up. So, but what do we want to achieve? That's always a good question. I'm gonna minimize the screen right here. I created a really bad drawing for this. So what do we want to achieve? We have a username entry form, which goes into a create game form, which goes into an ask question form, and that's where we left off. And what we would want is to get the questions from the database, post them, and ask the database, hey, is this correct or not? Without giving the answer in the page itself, because if you're a little bit smart, you can go and select the element and then look in the source, and you will find the answer to the question, and the game would be quite pointless. So it would be nice if we could have the ask question form, have it post to the backend saying, hey, I have a answer to this question, and the answer was this ID. The backend would say, well, that's good or not, and then you would go back to the database and ask for a new question. In the end, after predefined number of rounds, you would go to the end score. So you answered 3 out of 5 correctly, yay, and then you would go back to the create game and continue this entire cycle. So we got to the first 3 boxes, and it would be nice if we could finish off this entire flow Perhaps stub out the database interaction here with a little bit of a backend database in JavaScript, and then continue on to creating a real closure backend for this service, right? In the future, it would also be nice to have multiple users, invite them for a battle, maybe do an entire brawl of 10 or 20 people trying to figure out who has the best trivia knowledge. For this, we would also need some trivia questions, so we need to figure out how to get those. But let's focus first on just going from the single ask question with the pop-up here, saying, hey, it's awesome, true, to going through the entire flow, maybe ask a question or 3 or 4, and just keep going through this. I think that will take us maybe an hour and a half. I don't know, maybe we will run into some issues. We actually made some I made some mistakes last time in the regions and wireframe part. If you remember, we talked about register event fx, having the effects, and where are you? Live coding recap. I create this really nice diagram saying, all right, we have effects, and we have a handler, and that has effects as a result, and the context will travel if you define your own effects handler. So we did this, and sadly I said, well, we will have an effects handler, and it gets a DB. Well, it does not. It gets a co-effects handler, or co-effects the context structure, and that context structure has a DB as part. I cannot type as part of it. So I sadly made a bit of a boo-boo. What it did, it nested the DB structure inside the. Well, we can, if we undo all this, it's very nice to see this error, I guess. We call this DB. Let's print out the DB. We will just give this a reload because we can. Give it the username. So when we go into the create game, we will print out the DB structure, and you will see what the problem is. So the multi-page has some form of issue, no method in the pages for dispatch value. There is a dispatch that says nil, which is probably due to the reload part. So what we see here, this part right here, we would have expected to have a context structure with a database which has a name, an active page, and a create page. And I think that this is part of the error that we just saw, is that due to me just having the database, treating the context as a database, we're nesting the database. And that results in strange behavior. It is grossly wrong, so I'm going to rename this. Thought I would use the closure refactor stuff. It works really nice within Closure, but Closure script is not really supported yet. When we get to the Closure part, I will show you how that works. So we will repopulate the database part of the context with the database part from the context and with our new question attached to it. We have 2 more. So this one is also co-effects. We will have the DB from the co-effects, the context really. And this one is only a name called DB, but it does not have any side effects, and the rest is just purely the database. So when we reload, we should also no longer have the error coming along here. It's okay, it's okay. So if we print out the co-effects now, we should see that it's no longer nested. Which is exactly what we want. So the DB now has the name active page set. And that's it. Yeah. Oh, it's before we add questions, so that's fine. Yeah. Just wondering where the question was, but we printed out before the question is there. So we fixed the bug, which is really nice thing to do, of course. So we have this part. What would be a good thing to do is to not have a on-click handler that just prints out the true or false. So what we would want to do is to do a dispatch saying, hey, I have an answer to this question and the given answer is this, which would be a really good thing to do if we have some IDs. Normally you would have some form of ID from database, so we have a question ID saying it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and for all the answers we can create an ID 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we can, when we push the button, we can say for question 1, 2, 3, 4, I received the answer 3. Is this correct? This means that we also no longer need to pass along the correct part to the GUI, which will make it a lot nicer. So if you go to the view part, if you remember here, the create answer, we said it's a nice little big button, but when you click it, we will just alert the correct answer. The part that says, is this answer correct or not? We also just only passed along the answer, so we should say we have an answer for a question, so we have a question ID, answer. We can also now say the key should be the ID of the answer. Yeah, of course, that's fine. It's still I have this habitual I have this habit of every few keystrokes to just save work, which is quite neurotic, but we will do a dispatch, wireframe dispatch saying submit answer, sure, to question ID, and we will say this is the answer given, right? So if you see my constant keystrokes, it's mainly due to working on unreliable remote systems and stuff like that, and dealing with very old, very fresh software. In the time of JDK 1, we had like Eclipse and stuff like that worked really badly. Programmers now are very lucky with the quality of software that is available. We used to not be so lucky, but that's fine. So we fixed our create answer, and create answer should now receive also the question ID. So we say give us the ID of the question, and now what should happen is that when we have an event that says submit answer, register events, I cannot type today, event DB, submit answer, it's a function, it gets a DB, the event, and we will have data, and the data in itself is two sets of data really, the question and the answer ID. So let's just print the data to see what is going on. So if all is well, it just hot reloaded. We should see some. Yeah, it did not. The hot reloading seems to mess up the database part. Oh, very nice. Look at that. Reactive deref. It should be wrapped in do all. What did I do? What did I do? If you hear a train go by, that's correct. It's the train outside that goes chuk chuk. ID answer. Guess it's over here. Because it says the button blah 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 blah. ID this, ID that. Reactive deref not supported in lazy sequence. It should be wrapped in do all. Wonder if it's the dispatch or the key. The key should be fine. It's probably the dispatch. It basically says it returns a lazy sequence. So we should do a wrap in the do all. It basically forces the it forces the lazy sequence to be run. The beauty of the lazy sequence is that you can have a very, very, very long list, millions of entries, but nothing happens until you start iterating and doing stuff with the sequence. So if you have a map that returns a sequence that is lazy, nothing will happen. So the do all, or apply if you want, the do all will basically force every item of the lazy sequence to become known to the front end, and thus it is executed. So that should be fine. That's very interesting, right? I think we made a boo-boo. Yeah, we made a boo. We should return the database. In the register event database, it's very important to return the database for the further down in the chain. If we have an FX, it will do it. It will pass along the context. All right. So we pushed the button and it dispatched event data, and it's called the data now has 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the question ID. So we can say question ID and answer ID, and we should actually get those data when we push it now. So now it says for question 1, 2, 3, 4. I submitted answer 3. So now we need to have some form of data structure that we can actually check these answers to. Normally we would post to the database or the backend service really, and that will look it up in the database, provide us with the answer. For now we're gonna fake it like you made it. So when we do when we create a game, we have the database structure that we what did we put in there? We put in there the current question, and basically if we just add the list of questions there, we can fix it a little bit. So what can we do? Let's see, let's say we will take the database of GoFX, and we will associate, if you don't know the threading macro, threading macro is one of those very functional things that people need to get their head wrapped around. It basically says take the first argument and pass it along as the first argument for everything that is following in the list. So if we take the current question here, so and we will wrap this in a let data come. All right. So, and then we can say we remove this. So, what it does now, it says we have big fat error. Yes, because we are not within the lets. Okay, beautiful. We fixed it. All right. So the threading macro says take the database from the coeffects and pass it as the first argument to the next statement that is here. And from there, take the result of that argument and pass that along as the first argument to the function that is in the second part of the list. So if we say those questions, and we should really fix this, I guess. I think we can do this, right? We have this one. We have a list of questions. So and we say 1, 2, 3, 5. How cool is do you like candy? No, we'll make an actual question. What city is in the Netherlands? Right, we'll have an actual trivia question. San Francisco, Bangladesh, Singapore is a beautiful city. Barcelona, if you have never been, really go. And Amsterdam, everybody knows that is in the Netherlands. If you do not know this, something went wrong in school, I guess. So we have an actual trivia question that says what city is in the Netherlands. It says Amsterdam. So we have now a database, I guess. It is very fake and it is very not real at the moment, but we would replace this with a call to the backend. So for the current question, we should basically be able to just say is this very useful? We should basically, yeah, why not? Yeah, I'm wondering, since we now have a database of questions, if we can just, because we say subscribe to the current question. These are the events. We currently say subscribe to a current question, and that is the current question from the data structure. Yeah, we'll do this, right? I'm just making this up as I go, so all right. So what we'll do for now is the current question will hold the identifier, which is a reference to the databases. My current database saying questions is this. Now this is a really bad idea, really. I will just leave it as this and say the current question is basically this reference here, because once we have a backend service, this will hold the actual question, and we now just have a questions database that we will populate, and then when we answer a question, we will pull out a random next entry from that list. And we will populate that into current questions, and that way our code that we use for displaying the question will not have to change every time we go from now having a fake database than to having a web service, etc. So we will just do it like this. And when we have a submit answer, we will dispatch a select new question. And when we do a submit answer, it will be fun to quickly take a look at the database, so we can see that everything we did is actually working. So we log in, we create a game, and we submit an answer, which is all nice and dandy. But what we should see is this the current page. Current question is the 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have a list of questions 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 5 that we can select our questions out. So when we submit an answer, one thing we should do is let the front end know that if it was correct or if it was false or incorrect, really. So that becomes the question. So there is a side effect, so we will immediately change this to have a co-effects. There's no need to have this structure. Then print database, yeah, we changed it. So we will have a co-effects. So there we go. We'll just go reload. I don't think we need to reload. It's more habitual than anything else. So print co-effects. The co-effects has the database. It's beautiful. Yes, it still works, because when there's we have an effects, we return that structure. We do not need to modify the database if it is unmodified. Well, currently what we want, I don't think we want to change the database here. We want to dispatch, and what do we want? We want to dispatch the state of the question, or the answer really. How shall we call it? Answer state. And what we want to do is to let's grab the current question. The question becomes the co-effects. Can we do this? Get in co-effects db current question. So within the co-effects, we want to retrieve the element that is in the DB structure at current question. Let's see if that works. It's always quite fiddly. Let's say prn q. And if that is correct, then we should be getting this structure. And what we want to see, I made myself really not very handy. We will grab the answer array, and we need to find the element that is ID X. I made this. Normally, it would just post to the backend service, and we will figure out how to deal with it there, which would probably be just a database query. So now I'm making it myself a little bit hard. So we should be getting this, and we will get the answer list, and let's see if we can get. We will just for now say that whatever you press, it is fine, right? So we will have a dispatch of the answer state true. Wondering if that does anything useful, really. Because we want to tell our front end that it has something. So we should actually just tell it to subscribe to. We need to change the database here. DB Covex. Yeah. We will tell it the DB would be SOS DB answer state true. This becomes really icky. Icky. So no dispatch. The view. And we will subscribe. We will need to make a subscription. I should have really thought this through much better. Reframe, register, subscription. You see, as we answer state, and we will answer with the answer state DB. Maybe we can make some boilerplate out of this as well. So we will state becomes reframe subscribe answer state, and it should not be true or false, it should be a tuple of something. Answer state correct, and our DB structure should answer state should be unknown. Seeing that we can do this much better, we can say questions. We don't need to have some stinking create game to create. We will have our questions database in our initial structure, and the events data. We can get this. Well, you learned about threading, and now we remove it quite fastly, speedy. This will be our database DB, and the database has questions. We will grab the first question that we can. So we will grab the first questions from the database, and from this assoc DB current question queue. And it should still be exactly the same, but we clean it up in that our initial database load has the, because now we can also say, we can try last. Does last work? I don't know if last works. Let's see what happens. It works. Closure is so well thought of. So we can say we have a nice entry here. What city is in the Netherlands? We obviously choose Amsterdam. It will dispatch the submit answer, which is the structure that we see here, and the answer state we transform to correct. So that would be a temporary state, and then should flip back to unknown. So we should have something that after a little while transfers to the next question and resets that state. And that will mean that this view will reset itself. So, but if we have an answer state, this might not be the silliest thing ever. We have this area that says what city is in the Netherlands. And let's make this green if it's correct, or red if the answer is incorrect. It's very nice to put a style sheet in, I guess. If you've been following along, you've seen this CSS styles.css that stops, which does not exist and throws a really nice error. So let's create it. resource public css style.css. And how shall we call it? Make a directory. Beautiful. It exists now, so let's call it correct answer. I always forget how this works. Background color green. Incorrect answer. I should turn off my speaker. Red and waiting for answer becomes light gray, I guess. I don't know what color would that be. Selecting the Jumbotron. The Jumbotron has a style that says E. Background color E. Beautiful. All right. So we go back to the console. When we reload, it should no longer say error. Beautiful. Let's see if I know my CSS. I give you the hint already. I do not know CSS very well. I'm not a designer guy. I think everybody should learn the basics of stuff, and I always forget. So correct answer. See if it does anything. Probably should have been a dot or something, right? Silly. Or maybe it's backgrounds. Thinking I can just easily background minus color. Yeah. See. Typically something that you do once, right? And never think about again. Bye, Martin. I think my background thingy is overridden. Let's see, blah blah blah. Before Jumbotron, where are you? Jumbotron, container Jumbotron, yeah. Why am I not seeing container text center? Which is this part? Maybe I should. And it should be the dot, see? Beautiful. If you ever can, if you design something, leave it to somebody who knows what they're doing. See, now we have this one. It's obviously in the wrong part. We should have the correct answer. And it is really that's interesting. That's that part. Yeah, sure. The Jumbotron is overriding it, I guess. I'll take it. I'll take it for now. Let's say what we want is to add correct answer to this or incorrect it's red, or oh, and I don't need the other one actually. I can use the waiting for answer. So let's remove this and say this is a combination of this part and cont p equals state. It should be, if it's correct, it will be correct answer. If it's incorrect, it should be incorrect answer. And now it doesn't like it. No matching clause, unknown. Oh, beautiful. Unknown, it should be nothing. Yeah, and we click Barcelona. Well, something happened. You see that? Do Amsterdam. I don't know if something happened now. Let's clear this. Let's go to sources, select the element. Bam. Incorrect. I should have a space, of course, right? Barcelona. Does it change anything? It says correct answer. So, did we provide event? We made everything correct, right? That's true. I already forgot about it. So if we make it incorrect, Barcelona, it is false, right? So beautiful, beautiful. So now we need to find find the correct answer, which will probably be a big laugh because I made myself very, very difficult. So we should see answers. What we get is we get a list that oh, maybe we can filter. We can use this beautiful thing. Let's grab this structure. We will grab this structure and go into the closure script REPL. We will define X as this, right? So now X is the list of answers. We can filter. Let's see. We will grab ID of what we get with 4. We want to have the what we want is to iterate over the list with the answers and then grab the ID, which is actually the one that I gave, and maybe this works. Yay! So and it returns a list. So if we grab this one again and we say first, yeah. So remember, the lesson to take from this is no matter how complex or difficult it seems in Clojure, it probably has a very nice and elegant solution to it. So what did we do? If we go back to grab the answer ID, answers cube. So given the list of answers in our database for the current question, we can find the answer ID given to us by checking every single item in that list to see if the ID of the item that is being iterated over, which is this % mark, has that answer ID, and we use the filter function, which takes a predicate. The predicate is something that is either true or false, and our predicate is check if the answer ID is the one that is given, and filter will return a list, and we know that there's only one single element, so we'll just take the first one of that list, and so the answer that we gave will be now in our answer variable. So all we need to check, let's print out the answer, and I am assuming it is correct, and our answer structure db has an ID, an answer, and it has a key called correct. So we can say cont p equals correct answer, and it will have true will be correct and false will be incorrect. And this is horrible because we can just say the answer state. No, that's fine. The answer state needs to be a tuple because it needs to have an unknown state, right? So true, false, unknown. We create correct and incorrect. That's, and in case there's something wrong with the database, we will make it unknown. In case there's a boo-boo there, so it's defensive. That's fine. So what should happen now is when you submit the button, it does a dispatch to the backend. The backend submits the answer, and this is basically our backend logic, which we already implemented for our front end. It says grab the answer from the list, and if it is a correct answer, so correct equals true, enter the correct key. If it's false, the incorrect, and if there's no key, just put the unknown. So what should happen now is that when we click San Francisco, it should say a big fat red. Amsterdam should be green. Barcelona red. Singapore would be red. So basically, we implemented a beautiful system already. There's no answer here. It does a dispatch to the backend. Backend will tell us if it's correct or not. We should probably do something with the buttons, right? To have them disabled, etc. And now, what should happen is that it should wait. It should say to the user, "Hey, you did correct," and it should continue to the next question. So let's do this. So when you do a submit, and I read there's a nice feature in wireframe that it has built-in effects handlers. If you remember them, the effects handler, the dispatch, HTTP, or any event that you pass along to it. Hey, Martin. Hi, Martin. Good to see you. I talked about your question at the beginning of the video. So when you have some time, scrub back to the beginning, and we talked about it quite for a few minutes. So the effects handler, it wraps the handler, and it has the dispatch or many possible effects. And one of them, I believe, is dispatch later, right? It's a built-in effect handler. So we can say, do the thing, say it's correct or incorrect, and then dispatch it after, like, well, what should we do? How about... we will give our user 2 seconds. Let's see what happens. Dispatch later for 2000 milliseconds. We will dispatch, we will wait 2 seconds. Next question. And that will just be an event handler. And what will that event handler do? Reframe, register event db. Next question. Function GovX, and it will be db. What shall we do? We will just fake it for now. So if we change this to be the first question, just to prove our idea works, we will just go for the last question, or the second question. So it should reset some things, right? It should reset the answer state, and it should reset the current question. The new question to be asked is actually within the database, and it will be the last questions, right? Database, and we will reset 2 values in this go. So we will tell Clojure will thread the database through the function assoc. So it would be assoc db, but since it's the first parameter, answer state will become unknown, and seriously, and we will assoc current question with the last one from database, and the threading macro will return the database as a result. So what should happen now is then let's reload this entire thing. This is quite exciting, new stuff. So how cool is Clojure script? We will give it an answer, it will tell us what happened, and 2 seconds, and we are in a new question. And then Amsterdam, and then it will reset to the last. So we have, it's beautiful. All right, so we should have some way to actually have a random question being given back. We've been going for about an hour, and I forgot about my coffee, so now it's cold coffee. Right? So let's add another question. 1, 2, 3, 6. What language do they speak in the Netherlands? It's always fun. English, German, Dutch, or Danish. Why not? And of course, the answer is Dutch, and we should put that in a different spot because we can. So yeah. So now we should actually have a random number being generated and pick one of those, and let's do that because it's so much fun. So when we create a game, we should actually create a function. No way, Danish? What internet says this? If you're following along on the chat, Martin says that according to the internet, the Dutch speak Danish. And unless I'm no longer Dutch, Let's see what the internet says. Languages of the Netherlands. It is Dutch. Of course, we speak many languages. Oh, the US internet, yeah. Well, well, Wikipedia, which is not a very reliable source, but it goes for 90% of the things. The official language is Dutch, but there's many more. I'm actually from Friesland, which has the second official language in the Netherlands. There's two official languages. One is Dutch, one is Frisian. And well, yes, it's a very common mistake. The fun thing is that back in 1998, when we had chats being just web pages where we posted stuff, I actually had somebody who thought that the Netherlands was the place where Peter Pan lives, right? The Never Neverland, Netherlands. Yay for geography. Luckily, my country still has Dutch as a language, but you can find anything. Oh, this will be funny, really, because we can say we will we can have two real actual languages because Frisian is an official language. Yeah. So in event stuff. Let's create a real quick function, grab random question, and it will have a question db as a result. Now we need to create a random number. So would random 10 work? No. Random closure random number. Great thing about closure and closure script is that the probably rand, right? They implemented all the functions in both, so you can actually, or most of them anyhow. So you can basically say look up something for closure, and you're sure to find it in closure script as well. Can we just do floor? Yeah. Just have floor. Floor? Round? Man. Int? Int's fine. We just need a whole number. 4, beautiful. Of course, there will be a database which has a length. We call it length, and count is the way to count things. Question db. So len will give us, if we evaluate this, grab random question. And if we do a list of 1, 2, 3, it should give us an entry 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It should probably be +1. Should be +1, or else it should return 0. Really? 0 is part of it. There we go. Now it just sticks. All right. So, and then we can do the end. Rand int. Yeah. See, there we go. Martin to the rescue. Five. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thanks, Martin. And then we do the end. Collection n, so it should be question db and call index. Beautiful. So we will grab a random question based on the database. So instead of this, we can do grab random question. It's not a very good name, but we will fix later. And then when we have a next question, we will just do this. And so when we start, oh, rand end. Nice. Let's give that a try, Mark. I didn't know about that one. What does the date rand? Returns a random element of the collection. That's beautiful. Nice. Thanks. So we don't need all this part. We don't need this. We don't need this. Do we even need a function? Just call random question as well. We don't. I guess we don't even need a function because all it does is call. So beautiful. Make it more simple. And questions. Next question. Yeah, it's okay. Rand end. So, how cool is CrossScript? That's fine. 2 seconds. Bam. Dutch. Beautiful. I rock at this game. Of course, now we have we don't have a lot of questions, so it will. What city? Amsterdam. I know this. Beautiful. So it will show the same questions, of course. So let's say that we go for a best out of 5. Yeah, why not? So in the database we will add a function current round and max rounds. 5. It's kind of redundant. So round 1, of course. Round 1. Yeah. So let's see. So we create a game. It should actually reset. We should actually reset the game probably. Reset game db and create db true source db round 1 source db max rounds will be fine. Is there more to reset? No, I guess not for now. And then yeah. No, that's not very useful. Anyway, reset db and reset game. So we will reset the game. It returns a db, and we will add a new question to it. So we can now say, if I'm wondering if there is max rounds, would be some statistics, right? Because I want to subscribe to it in my view. The question part I would like to see. Hey, I have question 1 of 5, etc., etc. But I don't want to subscribe to every single element. So in the database, we probably should do have a state thingy, answer state. It's becoming quite a little bit of a mess. So something to think about. Yeah. So and then in events, the reset game, source in state round. Thousand should be fine, right? Takes, yeah. So yep. So we will have the round and the max round, so we can subscribe to the. We have the question. We can do the state part. State. Oh, I already have a state, of course. Answer state, which is quite dumb. Answer state. Where states used? Can probably add it to the state thingy, right? State reframe subscribe states would be the game state, I guess. Subscriptions. Subscriptions. Reframe register sub state function db state database. Yeah, and then so we get the stuff. So in the view we can say question round from state should be one. Oh no. What is state? I did not reload probably, so it's nil. It's Adam saying nil. Adam nil, right? So if we reload, yeah, there we go. So round of max rounds state. Question 1 of 5, beautiful, and then event whenever we submit an answer, we go to the next question, and we should go to the next round. The answer can go away here. So the DB has the answer states associated with it now, and so we want to change the database really. Yeah, just do this for now. We will thread the DB. We will associate DB associate in state round, and what we want to increment the current value of that. Round get in Cortex DB. We can do get in DB. Get in DB state round. The queue is quite useless now. Anyway, becoming quite something. I need to take a look at this really quickly. I need to take a look at it really. Think about it. I need to think about the structure of this really. So we increment the round every time we submit an answer. It's actually becoming something, and it's 11 o'clock, so Dutch is fine. See, the increment is too soon. We should go to the next question and then have an increment. So we move this to this area here, because else whenever we display it, it already is updated, which is not very nice. Um, and we're already threading the database here, resetting the game. Yeah, and we should make answer state part of state, and then we could call it game state, and that will make it much more concise, I guess. So it's db, and then after 2 seconds it goes there, and then we can also create a waiting state, and beautiful. Did I forget anything around should be fine now, right? It should be fine. Well, that's one incorrect, and then 5 out of 5. All right, so when we do the next question, it should actually first see, hey, am I at the end of the game? If I'm at the end of the game, maybe do a different dispatch. So that should be the end score. So, and we should keep track of correct and incorrect answers, which is part of the game state. I'm so excited that we're almost through the entire flow, which is quite nice. So let's add that to our game state. Correct 0, incorrect 0, 0. And how shall we do this? We shall submit the answer state. And now we're back to threading this part again. It's probably better to have some form of helper function here, but for now, do a SOS we'll grab the state for now. State db SOS in db state, and we should have something that says correct answer or not. Correct answer. Right. Yes. So we have the state, and now if correct, correct, incorrect. Increment. This is horrible. No, this is really bad. Get in, get works, right? Collection, get state. Well, first make it work, then make it pretty, right? That's the philosophy. So in state, correct or incorrect based on the correctness of the question, and then we'll increment the value of correct or incorrect. It's horrible. Let's see if it does what we think it does. Question, blah blah blah. We have a row here with the buttons. Let's add a different row, not have the buttons, but just have the state there. That way we can see, we see here what the value of our database is during the game. It might be useful while going through it. So now it says round 1, we have maximum of 5 rounds, correct and incorrect. So it increments to correct, it goes to round 2. Amsterdam, it is correct, and bam, I'm good at this game. Singapore, incorrect, still good. Meh. The tiebreaker, a call for Frisian. Frisian is correct. So now we are at the end of the game. And this is actually the 6th question. We're at the end of the game, so we need to decide if the game is over or not. And then we should display a page that says, this is the current state, this is how you did. And then have a button that says reset or not. Exciting, exciting, exciting. So this event handler for submit answer is becoming quite something. For now I want to finish this flow because we're at it for an hour and a half already. I want to finish it. So I will continue here. And what shall we do? This just submits the answer. It goes into, so depending if the question is the last one, if we went through all the rounds, we should dispatch based on that. So I guess we can say if in the state, if the current rounds, we do not update this, right? The current round is the same as the max round. We should go and instead of go to the next question, we should go to the end state. So round from state equals the same as equals max rounds. From state, we should go instead of this one, we should go to dispatch end game, right? And end game, all it should do is we can dispatch active page becomes end game. We can tell it to just change the page to the end game page. So if we go to views, active page, if you remember, active page will associate within the database the active page key to whatever it is given, and the active page is actually wrapped in our main page, which subscribes to it. So whenever the active page is changed, it will call show page. Show page will print out this ask thingy here, and then go to pages page, and then here and we'll call the def method pages, and we say end game, and we will have a end game view, and our end game, it does not exist yet, correct, and we can borrow it from our create game, I guess, right? Create game, because we want to create a game afterwards again, create a new game, and then game ended, and let's just put the state here because we want to subscribe to it, right? subscribe here. Subscribe to the state. We now have the state. Let's get rid of this navbar. I do not like it. And for now we will just do state. We did something really bad because I did something really bad. We should do a let, of course. Let state. There we go. Create game. Yes, because it's called ORM endgame. Too excited to actually finish this flow. So when we do a username here, we can create a game. Here we go. What language? Frisian. Correct. Bam. Oh. That's horrible. I did something really bad. Even. Where are you? If equals that was unexpected. Yeah? I would have thought I would have had it correct by now. Awesome, it's true. 1 equals 5. Page endgame. Why? Maybe this is not doing what I thought it would do. Maybe it's doing but dispatch later. If round state equals obviously it thinks it should do the reload there. Oh, oh, silly me. I should learn how to read. So I dispatched endgame here, and I dispatched active page endgame. So this should be next question. Oh, silly. Monty Python would be laughing, right? Dutch. Question 2. No question 2. And now I should actually do the right sequence of it. In how many ways could you actually do this wrong, I wonder, right? There should be it's probably 3 permutations and we had them all. Amsterdam. Yes. Dutch. There we go. It's awesome. Let's go for it's still awesome. Everything is awesome. Endgame. Game ended. Beautiful. Now for some views. Views we said game ended and we added the state, which in itself is nothing. State, right? If you had more correct, if the correct number is more than the incorrect number, state you win, else you lose, right? You win, right? And what we want is to just show the number of versus five versus 0, right? And then when we do create new game, see the reset, it did not, it did create new game, but I did not reset the events. Create new game does not reset the answer state. But we have this reset game here. DB answer state unknown. So we will give a incorrect answer. Then we can give a correct answer. Still, it's very random at the moment. So, no other questions? Nothing? We should actually reset that, of course. Create new game. And known. And we should reset the correct to 0 and incorrect to 0. I wonder why the random would it be because the database no longer exists. Right, what city is San Francisco? No, it's wrong. It's awesome. Singapore. Amsterdam. English. Oh, I did really bad. Game ended, you lose. New game. Frisian. English. Barcelona. Singapore. The randomness is not very good at the moment. Yes! Beautiful. Beautiful. So, if we go back to my drawing, my beautiful drawing. So we went from username to create game to ask question, which repeats, looks up the question in database, repeats until the game ended, and then we could go back to create game. So we actually did it. We made a full flow, which means that next week we can actually create a server-side component. I'm gonna see in the meantime if I can find a database of trivia questions to make this more exciting. So beautiful. I'm gonna wrap it up with that. It's 11:15. So if you liked it, press the thumbs up button. Martin, it was very good having you. Thanks for joining. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. I will make a summary video wrapping up the wireframing and the reframe stuff. Yeah, and then I will see you guys again next week, Friday, 10 a.m. Central European time. And we will actually transition to the server side. So hopefully I will see you guys then. Thank you, and see you next week.